The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the doorsill, where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. The Breeze at Dawn by Rumi, as displayed on the wall in Denver International Airport.
Folklore is an attempt by humans to explain what we don't understand. Conspiracy theories then might be best described as modern folklore, and like folklore, there may be some truth to the claims. Denver International Airport in Colorado has been the target of conspiracy theories even before its opening in 1995. But why does this airport in particular have so many claims surrounding it? What secrets does it hide? Tonight, we don our tinfoil hats and search for the truth on this episode of Snipe Hunt.
You're listening to Snipe Hunt, your frightening folklore podcast. I'm your host, Deep State Darren.
And I am your other host, Global Elite Gary. And tonight, we are joined by...
Shadow Government Sam.
Ooh, Sam, welcome back.
Thank you.
You were on last on with us for the Haunted Dolls episode. You were supposed to be the guest, but you just straight up filled in for Gary on that one. So I appreciate that. And I'm excited that we're all here.
Dude, I'm telling you, I listened to that episode and I was like, damn, Sam is good. I was like, Sam is good. I even commented on Facebook, but you totally ignored me. So I was like, I guess Sam isn't replying on Facebook.
I didn't know what to say. I'm so awkward. I'm like, well, thank you.
All right, good. So, Sam, what are we talking about tonight?
So for the first time, the Snipe Hunt podcast is finally exploring conspiracy theories. And for the first one, we are covering a location with multiple conspiracy theories linked to it. The Denver International Airport.
Oh, man, it's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to tackle conspiracy theory, or CT, if you will, so we don't have to say conspiracy theory every single time, for a while, because I found them pretty interesting and in some cases hilarious. I think they're good for this podcast. It allows us to branch out. And what are conspiracy theories other than just modern folklore? So I'm stretching it, but I think it still works. So I wanted Sam on for this one, too, as he is our residential CT expert.
Yes.
Taking on
okay. Not like modern conspiracy theories, just like fun ones.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're as much of an expert in the conspiracy theory field as anyone else is.
So like, are we talking about like flat Earth type conspiracies, or are we talking about jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams?
Everything. They all funnel under the same umbrella.
Yeah, but some of them are complete wackadoodle stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, some of them are.
Some of them, yeah, they range from like, I can see that happening to
right. Every once in a while, you get something that just has a little kernel of truth. Yeah, like JFK getting shot in the head.
Oh, yeah,
this is a great one because I believe straight up he was Mr. Magoo, and one of the Secret Service agents shot him in the back of the head.
Could be.
Well, whenever you look at the actual police work that was done and the interviews that were done on street level, they smelled gunfire at street level. Then a ballistics expert did a full ballistic analysis and found that the projectile came from the back of his head. The kill shot did.
Well, let's not get into this because we could go on this all day. But I will say
anyway,
that like that's the one conspiracy theory that I do actually believe, because if you go into that trying to disprove it and look at all the evidence and you're actively trying to disprove it, the more you try to disprove it, the more you're like, man, I don't think the official account was what really happened.
Exactly. No, conspiracy theories are born from voids of information. Whenever somebody just goes, uh-oh, and then, have you seen Chernobyl? They spawn from that moment whenever the guy walks in, right? And the nuclear reactor just exploded, and he's like, okay, don't tell anybody anything. It's all in here. And that's where conspiracy theories really start from.
That's true. It's either that or just trying to explain something that you don't really understand. Much like folklore, it's just like, hey, this weird thing happened or this tragedy happened, surely it's not just a random event. Surely there's someone with an agenda, and it makes me feel better by saying it's not a random event, because that means that decreased the likelihood that that's going to happen to me.
Right.
So it's just another way, I think, for people to have some sort of control or, over their own lives, and try not to panic on this giant rock that's spinning at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Oh yeah.
So is there any particular, well, I think me and Sam just said ours, but Gary, is there any particular conspiracy theory you actually give credence to?
I was trying to think of that, but not right off the top of my head now. Right now it's pretty interesting. The Hollywood pedophile ring.
Oh yeah, there's conspiracy theories are so hot right now.
Yeah.
Everyone is like, you know what? I'm now a detective.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? I honestly wish that the people that talk about these conspiracies and stuff, like when you see interviews with them, they didn't seem
so unhinged.
So unhinged. Yes. I just want to see a normal person be like, you know what? This is what I think, and this is why I think it.
No,
but instead,
more normal. Like every time there's a normal person on, they're like, and your name is like, my name is Jeff Stevenson, and I believe that there is an entire alien government and that's behind us making every single decision. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
And they're just like the complete crazy ones.
Yeah. There's like files all around them, and their hair is all messed up, and they got bags under their eyes.
The thing is, conspiracy theories are born from a paranoid mind already, so you already have to be sort of unhinged to even come up with one. Not necessarily to believe in one. Like, I think it's healthy to, like, question the status quo or the official account. I think that's fine, but you can definitely go overboard with it. You can take it way too far. So now I, for one, think that 99% of CTs are baloney. I only say 99% because some conspiracies have proven to be real. There have been actual that's not real. It's just a conspiracy theory. And then and then the government releases documents that are like, oh, that was real.
Yeah.
So my main issue with them is that like everything counts as evidence for the theory. For example, this is probably not even the best example, but the moon landing being fake seems to be a very common one, despite being a very easy one to disprove. You can come at them with solid evidence that the moon landing actually happened, and they'll either dismiss it or come up with any alternate explanation to fit into their theory. Like, it's like, here's the evidence, and they're like, okay, I'm going to take that evidence and work into my theory to prove my point. And that's like every conspiracy theory. And then you tell them that there's no solid evidence for their claims, and they'll just respond with, exactly. The fact that there is no evidence is proof of a cover-up. So with a lot of conspiracy theories, it's just the lack of evidence is just further evidence. So that's why I don't really give.
Now that you brought that up, now that you said that, it did bring up something. I listened to another podcast, and they had a guy that worked at Area 51.
Yeah.
And that was pretty wild, because it's like, because him, you want to believe.
Oh, God.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. It's like you listen to something like that, and it not just with conspiracy theories, but with like pretty much anything ever. It's like you want to believe it. It's just because, like, especially
because the guy did not seem like a wackadoodle. You know what I mean?
Are you talking about Bob Lazar?
Bob Lazar.
Yeah, Bob. Now, hold on a minute. He is actually a wackadoo. He didn't talk about the fact that he did go to jail for starting a prostitution ring in his garage. I'm sure he didn't talk about that.
No, I didn't hear anything about that.
Oh, I'm sure he didn't talk about that. No.
That sounds like something a guy who would work at Area 51 would do.
Yeah,
I don't see the problem.
Okay.
But yeah, it's literally impossible to even have any sort of debate with an actual hardcore conspiracy theories. So,
well, tonight we'll be covering multiple theories about the Denver airport. We will present the theory and the evidence for it. Then we will present the evidence against the quote. Yeah. Then we will present the evidence against the theory, which should debunk it. So we're just going to tee them up, knock them down one at a time. All right. We have a lot of ground to cover, so everyone put on your tinfoil hats and let's begin.
Let's strap in, boys. All right, so let's talk about the airport itself a bit so we can understand all the theories around it, as well as some earliest concerns about the airport. Denver International Airport, abbreviated DIA, was opened in February of 1995, but wild theories about its construction abounded before that. Many people wondered why they were even building a new airport when Denver already had a fully functional airport, the Stapleton International Airport.
Yeah, this is a big concern in
Oh yeah. Oh
in
yeah.
the DIA. Like they're like, why even build another airport?
No, this is literally where it all began, right here. Once more, DIA was much farther away from downtown Denver than Stapleton was. The building project itself led to even more questions. Why were there so many delays in construction? Why did the construction go nearly $2 billion over budget? They must be building something else on the site that's intended for something other than use as an airport. Clearly.
It's kind of like around here. We're like, why are they building another Walmart?
Exactly. But
we already have 3 Starbucks on this corner.
But I will point out in this quote unquote evidence that you haven't shared about the 5 pre-existing buildings that already existed on the site.
Yes,
that they just buried.
Yeah, it was kind of built on top of that, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. To further on what I've been talking about, the website vigilantecitizen.com had this to say.
Analysis of the data available makes me reach at least one conclusion. This gigantic structure will eventually become much more than a regular commercial airport. It has the capacity to handle a huge amount of people and vehicles, leading observers to think that the structure might be used as a military base, and others even add that it will be used as a civilian concentration camp in the near future.
Yeah.
So it's just like, their theory is it's big.
Yeah, it's big, so therefore it is evil.
It's evil. That's like saying the Georgia airport is big and evil. Seriously, if the Denver International Airport is a site of the New World Order, then the Georgia airport has to be too. Because it's massive.
I think all airports have to be a little evil just because, they're airports, but,
That's true. How much sadness has, like, X and A's seen? Probably
airports aren't necessarily fun places to be. No. But like you said, I don't think I really included that in here. But yes, there were existing buildings on the site. They were kind of like built the airport sort of on top of it. I didn't really find much information on that. Yeah, they kind of buried it.
That's part of the conspiracy theory, man.
Yeah, but I didn't find much information on it, so I'm not sure how like legit that is. But supposedly
it has to be legit. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of legit, also during construction, it was rumored that the site itself was an ancient Indian burial ground. I mean, honestly, like, 3/4 of land in America are probably ancient Indian burial grounds.
I was to say, yeah, my house is probably built on one.
I mean, whenever you look up what constitutes an ancient Indian burial ground,
what are the criteria?
A lot of information, so it could just be a guy.
Yeah, I think like that's the thing about it's like whenever it says someone's haunted because it's like by a graveyard or like by an ancient Indian burial ground, it's like, well, all the earth is just a giant graveyard.
Isn't the United States just an Indian burial ground?
There isn't 1 inch of this planet that hasn't seen at least one murder, I think.
So not long after opening, a man named Lance Allrunner claimed to have been hired by Denver Mayor Wellington Webb, what a name, to meet with the leaders of the Montana Cheyenne tribe to discuss the spiritual resolution of the site the DIA was built on. Allrunner, who is part Cheyenne, convinced the leaders to come perform a ritual at DIA to calm the ghosts of the Indians buried there. And so they did over the Easter weekend of 1995.
And now this just adds to the spookiness here, that they did it over Easter weekend.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But the thing is, especially about the Indian burial grounds, it's kind of like... I'm not sure what the official term, but it's kind of like exotic sizing Native Americans. Like, oh, it's ancient Indian burial ground, therefore there must be spirits. It's almost racist and very cliche. Come on, Allrunner, you couldn't come up with a better story than ancient Indian burial ground. Okay, so that's where it started. That's where it's beginning all the conspiracies. So let's go ahead and break these down. The reality of these is that yes, it did go well over budget. $2 billion over budget. But this happens with any construction project, especially with the construction of an airport. Airports are super freaking expensive. The Denver International Airport ended up costing $4.8 billion, which seems like a lot. But for comparison, Hong Kong International Airport, which was built around the same time, cost nearly 5 times as much. So for all you math whizzes, that's $20 billion.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't want to think of it is a nice airport. and there's a lot of art and everything in it.
Oh,
But a
yeah,
lot of people
it's
don't want to talk
huge.
about it.
Yeah.
But this could literally just be a jobs creation project.
No,
Like,
seriously.
none of the conspiracy theories are like, this is a jobs creation project.
But it's the people who are questioning why is it so expensive? They don't know anything about building an airport. How would they
have
know?
no
It's
idea.
super
Building
expensive?
anything is expensive.
So there were standard construction delays as well as delays to running tests on a new automatic baggage system. More on that later, so that explains the delays. It's pretty standard stuff. It was also always intended to replace Stapleton. Stapleton was a fairly large airport, but the runways like crisscrossed each other, so only a couple of planes could land or take off at any given time. So not very efficient. DIA was much larger and more efficient than Stapleton. Stapleton was also too close to downtown Denver to the point where noise complaints were a common occurrence.
Yes, and then also, whenever an airport is that close, buildings can only be a certain number of stories high.
Yeah, exactly. And there were like commercial residents around Stapleton, and they were not having a good time.
Yes, in Denver, it's actually very hard to build wide, so they would like to just build tall.
And as far as the secret ritual the Denver government supposedly paid for, there's no real evidence that I could find other than the testimony of Lance Allrunner.
All he had was a bunch of written words.
No, he had an invoice from the what is it called? It was like the cultural, like he got an invoice from the government, but it didn't say anything about what it was for. So he could have done like any number of work for that. He could have like swept the building and he could have gotten that invoice and then taken that and just be like, oh yeah, I was there to calm the Indian spirits. So that's pretty much where it all started, and that's pretty much the end of the history on that. So let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, our next theory is a short and simple one. If you look at the airport from an aerial or satellite view, the runway layout looks like a swastika. This is clearly proof of an evil right-wing plot.
Clearly.
Right?
Obviously. Yeah. Clearly.
The truth is, yes, it does look like the symbol of the Nazi regime. All you have to do is ignore a few lines, take away a couple of other runways, and then boom! It looks exactly like a swastika.
Exactly.
That was drawn by a clueless middle schooler.
No, exactly like any swastika.
Yeah. Any ones that you see like in the men's bathroom at school or just like at a gas station. But so I have a presentation with this if you guys would like to refer to it now. I have mapped out the supposed swastika, which exactly lines up to the given runways. I have also, and that's in red, also in blue, I have put the runways that people ignore so they can make the swastika shape.
Right.
And then in smaller white lines, I put in all the other existing little roads and runways that people also like to ignore just so they can make their swastika. But
right.
And then I did my best to actually make it look like a swastika because, it doesn't.
Because it doesn't. I've never believed in this conspiracy theory.
Yeah, but
why?
Yeah, exactly.
The reality is that it only resembles this shape if you make the layout resemble it. We humans can see patterns in everything, and that just so happens to be the pattern we can see in the layout. The pattern itself is optimized so that multiple planes can take off or land at the same time, resolving the issue that Stapleton Airport had.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, if you look at the layout, you can see where the runways are, and you can see like literally just how efficient it is.
Exactly.
And that's part of the reason why this place is so huge is one, because it
can accept a plane from any direction.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, it's pretty easy to debunk that one. So let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, I've never really believed in it, but this next one, there's actually some pretty like hardcore evidence, some physical evidence, something you don't see very much of in the paranormal or any kind of conspiracy theories, and the Freemasons. So next we have the Denver Airport's connection to the Freemasons, an ancient organization shrouded in quote-unquote secrecy. Other secret societies people believe the airport is connected with is the ominous Illuminati and the New World Order.
There it is.
Both of which, yes, there it is.
The infamous NWO.
Mm-hmm. With speech like this, people are going to think we're disinformation agents.
Yeah, it's true. We're running psyops.
There you go. Well, both of which seek the domination and subjugation of the entire planet. or so conspiracy theorists would have you believe.
We're gonna have to start getting all paranoid when a FedEx driver shows up at our house.
Who are you?
The fact,
Show me your identification, you son of a bitch.
man, I hate that happened, but I really, if anybody thinks it has anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein, it doesn't.
Geez.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just like,
Like I said, conspiracy theories are so hot right now.
Everywhere. Yeah.
they're born of voids of disinformation, and because that guy took his own life, we'll never know.
Yeah.
But what we do know is one of the terminals houses the Freemasons' dedication stone dated March 19th, 1994, the most evil of all the days. The
Sorry, that's
capstone.
your birthday.
It has 3 9s in it. What does that mean? Wait a minute.
We'll see
if you
if
turn
you
them
see how
upside
that
down, there's
works.
sixes. There's sixes.
Oh my god.
The evidence was right there all along.
And then if you take the remaining numbers 3, 1, and 4, and then you take out the
no.
1. If you subtract the 1 from the 4, it gets 3, and then that's like 33, and that's the highest level you can reach in the Freemason society.
I think he did it.
Yeah, that actually blew my mind.
That blew my mind.
I think that
That is sacred geometry right there.
we might be on to something.
Okay, we have to move on.
Okay, sorry.
But the capstone covers a sealed time capsule. And if you ever Googled Denver International Airport or put it on the YouTube, you've seen the video of Channel 6 Denver News. And this guy, he's so excited to be talking to a woman, showing off the capstone and showing off the time capsule. It is pretty spooky. And it is intended to be open in 2094.
If we all live that long.
Man, I don't think I want to be alive in 2094. That's old.
Yeah, that's very old.
The capstone.
Comforted to know that I won't be.
The capstone has the Freemason logo on it, the names of 2 of the society's Grand Masters, and an inscription that names a mysterious organization called the New World Airport Commission. Surely, this is undeniable proof of a nefarious societies controlling the airport. I can't help but smile.
All right,
I already know where this is going.
If you go back to your presentation, I do have a picture of the capstone, so you can see the infamous Freemason logo on it.
Oh yeah, I've heard that people said the Freemasons paid for the airport.
Oh yeah,
they didn't.
They did because all the conspiracy surrounding it. Actually, they didn't because that's what they want us to believe that the Freemasons paid for it. When it was actually,
but they paid them that you can do that.
It was actually the lizard people who live underground,
right? But have you seen the other buildings that the Freemasons has the capstone on, like the Kansas City, like the Kansas City post office?
Yeah, which is clearly also a secret base for the New World Lizard Illuminati.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or you could just hire them.
Yeah. Well, let's move on.
Well, the truth is that the Freemasons are a real organization that still exists today. The real Illuminati secret society died out in the late 18th century and only lives on, along with the New World Order, in the minds of conspiracy theorists.
Sad.
We won't get into Freemasonry right now, as a subject all on its own. But basically, they started as a fraternal organization of stonemasons that would be hired out for various construction projects several hundred years ago. And despite the secrecy surrounding their order, they're harmless and actually very commonplace with the U.S. Actually, my grandfather was one, and I get a letter asking if I want to join them every so often. There's actually an office close to where we live that we can join.
There you go. You should just get in there and then immediately just like launch yourself up to level 33, and that way you can learn all the secrets of the world, and you know that the moon is actually a base for aliens to spy on us, and that's if it's not already just a holographic moon. So
look, I don't want to
have a great opportunity here.
Look, I don't want to talk about the moon being hollow or not there, because that is some very yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Since the beginning. Since the beginning of the United States, members of the Freemasons have laid capstones or commemorative stones in many buildings in a ceremony that calls back to the traditional values of the original stonemasons organizations. The Freemason symbol can be seen in all these buildings. What?
I think it's Longmont Masons.
LongmontMasons.org. So you can believe it.
Yeah.
Says this
straight from the
says
source.
this about the stones. Yeah, straight from the source. Cornerstones have traditionally shown the date and name of the Grand Lodge and the Grand Master and the Masonic emblem. Such a cornerstone has been part of the construction or dedication of many federal buildings and seats of state government since these early beginnings. Freemasons conduct cornerstones ceremonies on public buildings that are dedicated to religion, education, or civic service and philanthropy.
See, that's the thing, is that
they're all over the place.
Yeah, they're everywhere. They're in every single building. That's pretty much any public government building. You will see a Freemason symbol on it somewhere. But the conspiracy theorists would say, well, exactly. That's how you know.
Exactly.
That's how you know they control everything, man. Anyway.
No, you can just hire them.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a ceremony is all it is. It's all like tradition.
And it's not the New World, Airport Commission. It's the New, World Airport Commission.
Yeah, it's
a
not
non-for-profit organization started by Charles Aschenbach. Yeah, this guy. Those are rich in everything. To help promote the new Denver airport, and the organization never really got off the ground. However, so it's now defunct, but still immortalized on the capstone. Or just maybe the New World Order is real and just likes to advertise.
Yes, clearly all these secret societies are so secret they will literally put their names on commemorative stones
as a nod, as a wink.
Like if the New World Order really existed, you wouldn't see anything about them if they are as powerful and secretive as conspiracy theorists would have you believe. They wouldn't advertise. They wouldn't just like put their name on random stuff. So it's not the New World Airport Commission. It's the New World Airport Commission. It basically Charles Ansbacher tried to start this to get like big names and companies to like basically sponsor the airport, but and other non-for-profit stuff, but it didn't really happen. So literally the only place you can find it now is just on that capstone.
Well, they do say that abbreviation is everything. Like let's eat grandpa, or let's eat, right, grandpa,
exactly,
or let's eat grandpa.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's two different.
There you go. Yeah.
Two different things.
That's all we need to say about that.
So now let's talk about the lower levels of DIA.
Here we go.
There are, in fact, tunnels under the airport. And during construction, people speculated that the delays were caused by the underground bunkers being built in secret. Who are these underground bunkers for? Obviously, for the Illuminati New World Order global elite. Come on. When the nuclear biological war starts, they will retreat there to hide out and wait to emerge and take over the planet. Okay? I feel like I'm, who's that guy? The gay frog guy.
Yeah, Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
That explains the time capsule because, the nuclear holocaust is going to happen and destroy the Earth, and they're going to hide out in these tunnels, but they have everything they need stored in that time capsule. So they'll come out in 2094 and start to rebuild their own world and their image, just like the Fallout games.
And then they have water guns full of stuff to turn all the freaking frogs gay.
There you go.
We had to throw that in there.
I know. I'm sorry. All right. Or it's for the president and other government elites to hide during the nuclear apocalypse. All right. Another theory brings in reptilians into the equation. For the uninitiated, that's a hard word. For the uninitiated, reptilians are shape-shifting lizard people who take on human form and gain political power to control the earth.
It sounds far-fetched, but, as more and more politicians are just kind of showing their true colors, it's becoming a lot more believable.
Right.
And
the tunnel, he's a robot, I'm convinced.
He's a robot or a reptilian.
Or a cyborg reptile.
The tunnels were definitely built to house these evil puppet masters. The reptilians, the Illuminati, and the New World Order are all pretty much interchangeable theories and all go together like a paranoid peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and it's so delicious.
See, that's why I like these tunnels, is because there's not just one theory about them. They're just throwing stuff at the wall. It's like, it's obviously this. It's obviously that. It's obviously this.
Everyone
It's like,
uses the tunnels.
You got to pick one. Yeah. They just share all these tunnels, honestly.
I just want to believe that all these theories are real, and they're all sharing the tunnels, right?
Yeah,
and
they're all like
are walking through, and it's like, don't go in that tunnel. That's the Illuminati tunnel.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing?
Color coded. Yeah, they're all color coded, and there's aliens too. Bigfoot has a place there. It's great.
Bigfoot. That's where Bigfoot's timeshare house is. That's where he goes for vacation.
I want to know if right now they have the little stickers on the floor that tell you which way to walk.
Illuminati this way.
And
it's like it's got the like little mall map that says you are here.
You are here.
And don't forget to wear your mask because it's state mandated. Anyways, other theories state that the tunnels were built as concentration camps run by FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, who plan to instate permanent martial law and will send any dissidents to these camps.
Once again, this also sounds far-fetched, but now considering protesters, quote unquote, early be taken off the streets in unmarked vans, by the Trump administration, like this is a literal thing that's happening. I don't really know too much about it, so I'm not going to claim anything. But
all I've heard is like they're like, we have people taking people in vans, and that's it. They're like, that's us.
Yeah, they just have like people in unmarked vans, and then people in military outfits like get out and kidnap people into the van. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh my god, have you seen the video where they just walk up to the kid and he's wearing a top hat? And they're like, use your words. I'm like, they're not gonna talk to you.
I haven't seen that video.
But they do walk like robots, and it is kind of scary.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, that is scary, actually. All right.
So the tunnels under DIA were actually built to house a state-of-the-art automatic baggage handling system. BizJournals.com described it this way. Airport plans called for a revolutionary computerized baggage transport system that would whisk passenger luggage in carts across the sprawling airport on 22 miles of twisting tracks and conveyor belts with little human intervention. The aim was to cut aircraft turnaround time and boost efficiency. It was conceived as a fully automated integrated system serving all DIA in-courses and airlines, moving bags from check-in to the plane, from plane to plane, and from plane to baggage claim. Yeah.
So it replaces one evil with another evil.
Yeah, it's the evil AI robots taking over everyone's jobs.
The baggage system is a maze of conveyor belts and looks very impressive. However, the system failed miserably. It was demonstrated in the media in 1994, but it mostly resulted in colliding carts, tossed and or crushed luggage, and scattered clothing. NBC News reported that it launched, chewed up, and spit out bags so often it became known as the baggage system from hell.
So it was just a spectacular failure, all caught on national television.
Or they really spent all the money on building secret underground tunnels and bunkers.
Yeah, that's why the baggage system sucked.
The system failed. Yes. And be like, see, we need more time for our quote-unquote baggage system.
It was a distraction. Designers underestimated the complexity and had no backups or resolution for system failure. There were attempts to get it to work properly, but to no avail. It was finally abandoned in 2005. But the concrete tunnels are still in use today. Drivers pull baggage carts in all directions, ensuring luggage is transported to their destination in a timely manner. Thousands of people work in the tunnels every day.
So
some believe that
I would like to point out the presentation again. I do have a picture of the tunnels. You can see a little bit of the baggage system up top with that netting right there. I believe that's part of it. I believe that's one of the conveyor belts. And then as you can see, there's that worker that's pulling all the luggage across, and so they are used. The baggage system doesn't really work, but they like haul luggage back and forth, so it's used every day by hundreds of workers. So.
I don't know why they didn't just do that originally, because that looks pretty
well. They were
nice. Trying
something, and I guess that was the backup plan.
They were trying to eliminate jobs, and that's what they got.
Exactly.
Some believe that the tunnels extend for almost 100 miles, all the way to Cheyenne Mountain, home of the North American Aerospace Defense Command,
Oh, yeah.
or NORAD.
Oh, yeah, they do.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
NORAD has its own set of conspiracy theories, so you can imagine the implications of it being directly connected to Denver Airport via secret tunnels.
Oh, yes, you can.
This alleged direct tunnel to NORAD also plays into the theory that the tunnels secretly house aliens. In some circles, DIA is even known as Area 52, a moniker also given to many other locations.
Including NORAD, for that matter. So,
including NORAD. Listen, Colorado should just be called Area 52.
Honestly, though.
The reality, or at least the official account, is that the tunnels only extend to the perimeter for the base, and the Denver International Airport would not be a good nuclear bunker, as NORAD is a prime target for a nuclear strike. So I think it's safe to debunk this theory.
No, it's
or debunker.
Yeah,
debunker. Sorry, I was
read the puns.
I thought
I
it was
for
wrong,
you.
but it's a punny.
Debunker this theory.
I think it's safe to debunker this theory.
Man.
But
Okay.
didn't they build NORAD Air Base specifically in the Cheyenne Mountains?
NORAD is literally
in a mountain,
a hollowed out mountain.
Yeah.
It's a mountain with a base inside of it. It's cool as hell. And that's why so many people are like, why'd they build it in the mountain? What are they hiding in there? But Cheyenne Mountain's actually a whole community. There's like schools there and everything. So I don't think it's that secret. But it's definitely a target because it's actually a pretty big, it's in the name, Aerospace Defense Command. So it's pretty important for it. But like I said, as far as DIA being nuclear bunker, not a very good one. If so,
no,
not a good idea.
DIA.
It's like putting a nuclear bunker right by the Capitol building of the White House, the Pentagon. It's not a good idea. Okay, so now let's move on to surefire proof that something diabolical is going on at the airport. The terrifying horse statue displayed at the entrance of the airport, the Blue Mustang, mostly known as Blucifer.
Hell yeah.
Clever, very clever. Other nicknames include Satan's Steed and the Blue Stallion of Death. All great band names. So go back to your presentation so you guys can get a good look at this thing. It is actually quite terrifying.
Oh, I know Lucifer.
As you can see, he's got, I'll describe him here in a second, but just take a good look, soak it all in, especially in the nice, pitch black of night. Yeah, the head, just everything. The anatomical correctness of the groin region and all of it. So now, to be fair, as I just stated, the statue is pretty terrifying. It's a massive 30-foot fiberglass sculpture that features a demonic horse with blue skin, red veins splattered throughout, and an emaciated body. And if that's not enough, its eyes glow red at night. It's kind of cartoonishly scary looking.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And if that's not enough, it also killed its creator.
It sure did.
Louis Jimenez was working on his sculpture in 2006 when a piece fell on him and severed an artery in his leg, causing the death of the artist. Yet it was still finished and put on display at the airport. Yeah. Anyway,
that is the head that fell on him and crushed his leg.
Yeah, this freaking statue literally has a body count, and it looks like the most demonic horse you've ever seen. So definitely look up a picture of this thing. I'm gonna post it on social media. It's really horrifying, and I kind of love it. It's pretty great.
It's pretty great. But that's where the conspiracy theory ends. The horse killed a guy.
The horse killed a guy, and it looks scary, and that's proof that something diabolical or evil, if you will, is happening. So the only really weird theory associated with this thing that I was able to find that had any sort of presence online is that people have connected it to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse as described in the book of Revelations. The only problem with this that it doesn't resemble any of those horses at all, nor is there a horseman included in the sculpture. So as far as why the devil horse is at the airport in the first place, the DIA is big into local artists displaying their respective art. More on that in a bit. But as for Blucifer, it's nothing more than just strange, which fair it is. Very strange.
It is very strange.
Gary, what do you think about Blucifer?
Well, was the red eye, was that
No, it literally glows like that at night. It's not.
It literally does.
Yes.
do
It
that.
literally glows.
It
like
lights
that.
up.
I'll be damned.
Have you guys, speaking of freaking scary statues, have you guys seen the hog statue that's between Fayetteville and Farmington?
Yes.
It's
Oh
it's
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like
yeah,
growing
yeah,
up on it.
yeah.
It's like the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Everybody was like, "Why is this so ugly?" And then other people were like, "Well, if you don't like it, then you can move out of Arkansas." I think
Yeah.
You
because
can
people.
move out of Arkansas.
No, seriously, because people were associating it with the Arkansas Razorbacks, our college team, when it literally has nothing to do with them. It's literally to promote a company. I forget,
Yeah.
like Hogeye. It promotes the
Hogeye.
Hogeye company, so it has nothing to do with the Razorbacks. But people are defending it like it's not the ugliest statue of all time, and I freaking hate
It
it.
doesn't even look like the Arkansas Razorback.
No, whenever I
No.
go to my girlfriend's parents' house, I have to see that thing almost every single time, and I'm like, please take it down. And then they light it up at night, so you can't ignore it even at night.
I've never seen it at night, so they do light it up, or is it just
Well, it's
LEDs
like
shining on
yeah,
it?
it's got light shining on it. It's not like
Yeah.
actually lit
okay.
up, but they should light up the eye because the eye is like this bright blue for Hogeye, but I hate it so much. It's so ugly. Anyway, let's move on.
Something else that's pretty ugly, I think. No, I'm joking.
Whoa.
No, I think the murals are. I think the murals are interesting.
Yeah, me too. I like him.
Yeah, we get to the big one, the strange part of the airport that even has caused visitors who know nothing about the theories scratching their heads. It sure does.
Yeah.
The strange artwork displayed in DIA, namely the murals. A lot of the art is super weird, like the gargoyles and stuff too.
Oh yeah, that's the thing is about the DIAs. It displays weird art of all sorts, but the murals are probably the most infamous, as well as Lucifer.
As mentioned earlier, the airport tends to display some less than conventional art pieces. The most infamous is a set of murals titled "Children of the World, A Dream of Peace." The first piece in this set is titled "Order of Chaos." Prominently features a soldier in a Nazi-like military uniform wearing a gas mask with an arranged disposition. The soldier brandishes a bayonetted rifle in one hand and a large scimitar in the other, which is slicing through a white dove. There are children sleeping on bricks at the figure's feet. The right side of the mural shows buildings in ruin, and the left side shows features of weeping women holding clearly a dead children, and behind her is a line of mothers prepping to do the same. At the bottom of the apocalyptic piece is a poem written by a little girl which reads,
I was once a child who longed for other worlds, but I am no more a child, for I have known fear. I have learned to hate. How tragic then is youth, which lives with enemies, with gallows ropes. Yet I still believe I only sleep today, that I'll wake up a child again and start to laugh and play. Hama sorry if I pronounced this wrong. Hama Hirschenberg, who died December 18, 1943 in Auschwitz concentration camp. So let's take a look at this mural. Let's take a look at this mural. It's pretty heavy. I don't want to say it's blatantly obvious what the artist is trying to get across, but the white dove being sliced by tool of war is. Do you get
Yeah,
it? Do you understand
obvious.
what it's happening here? I mean, it's also got a rainbow up top, but that's mostly just because it connects to the next piece, and the rainbow kind of like dissipates.
It's
as
dying out.
Yeah, as it reaches the soldier's head. On the other side, it's gone. It's just like a wind of fear, if you will. But
But if you look at it going in the opposite direction, you see where it starts with the child dreaming of a new piece.
Yeah, well,
and it goes in the opposite direction and everything else. It's like the undoing of it.
Exactly. It is kind of like off-putting. If you saw this in just like a random public place, you'd be like, "What the hell?" So I don't blame them for that. But we'll talk about a little more here in a bit.
I mean, isn't that what art is supposed to do?
Exactly. But like I said,
another mural set titled "In Peace and Harmony with Nature" continues with this theme of destruction. It shows trees burning and the animals in glass displays, women lying in coffins, and children crying. These disturbing murals, however, are just the first part of a set of 2 murals. The second murals in these are the follow-ups to the first and paint a more hopeful picture. The follow-up of the Order of Chaos mural and the Children Dream of Peace set shows the soldier dead at the bottom with his sword being dismantled and white doves perching on it. It shows a rainbow and the flags of various countries and a large group of diverse children all celebrating peace. The second mural, in the peace and harmony with nature, that shows animals thriving in their pristine habitat, with people of the world celebrating and a group of diverse children gathered around a mysterious plant.
All right, so let's go ahead and check out the murals on the presentation just so you can get an idea of what they look like. First one shows, obviously destruction of habitat, and then it shows all these animals in glass cases. It shows a taxidermied bison head on the wall. It shows like people in coffins. So also very kind of obvious, not so subtle
obviously
message.
9/11
Oh,
in the background.
Yeah, I mean it's got the trees burning, but if you look very far back, it's got those buildings in the background. So,
Yes.
Buildings.
Buildings burn, trees burn. And I hear a lot of people are saying that first we destroy ourselves and we destroy the environment and everything else.
Yeah. And then, if you look up the follow-ups, it's got pretty much the opposite happening. The sword is being dismantled into, like, I think it was like a plow or something like that.
Yeah.
It's got,
I don't see that.
It's got super kit. Well, I think it's the third mural in the presentation. It's at the center. It's got like this little Aryan looking kid with a hammer.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see.
You mean Donald J. Trump, our president?
Oh my God. Yeah, that's actually kind of who it looks like.
No, a lot of people have said that.
That's funny. But then, and I don't really have a high resolution image for the last one and the nature environment one. So, but you can see everyone's kind of celebrating. It's got nature scenes in the background, and then it's got this weird plant at the center that everyone's gathered around. But
I think it's this one that has the Bavarian child and the cowboy. And a lot of people say that the cowboy or the Boy Scout is giving over his weapon to the Bavarian child, showing that the U.S., like to have peace, gives its weapons over to Germany.
Clearly.
And then you see the other one, like in the other slide, the previous one, all the swords and the weapons are wrapped up in the flags.
Yeah. They're all giving up their weapons. We're all gathering it up, which is clearly the government's taking the weapons from the people so the people can't defend themselves.
Sorry, that's the one with the Boy Scout giving up his weapon to the quote-unquote Bavarian child with the hammer, which is Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Smashing all the weapons into tools of peace.
Yeah.
Now, CT enthusiasts believe that these paintings are a hint of global mass extinction event yet to come, and that the DIA is a shelter for the global elite to hide in to weather out the storm. Author Jay Widener and Coast to Coast AM host George Norrie had this to say about the murals in 2007 Westworld article.
These murals, which are shown in the film, are a story. Widener continues.
Like a message? Norrie asks. Are they trying to tell us something? Or are they trying to rub it in our face?
Widener explains that some high-level factions in Masonic society may be using the murals to alert the general population to the earth-shattering political and environmental changes in store for 2012.
That didn't work out very well.
Uh-oh.
Like I said, this article is from 2007, so just keep that in mind as we read.
Okay. Either that or these factions are amazingly arrogant. Because for Widener and for other conspiracy experts, the symbolism is as explicit as a manifesto. One mural features 3 women in a coffin surrounded by endangered animals, including a Quetzal bird. Thank you. Named after the Maya god
Quetzalcoatl.
Thank you. I was like, oh no. In a glass cage.
An extinction message, Widener says. The next panel shows children of the world gathered around a gigantic psychedelic plant of some kind, and they're all extolling that all the races are going to live together in a world of peace.
It's like the one world government bylaws, says Norrie.
George Norrie has the worst questions.
Doesn't he?
He really does. But the peace doesn't last. Another mural depicts a Gestapo-like figure knifing the dove of peace with his bayonet, surrounded by crushed cities and starving citizens. Considered in the context of other curiosities captured in his documentary, Widener concludes that these DIA murals reveal that 2012 will be the time of intense military oppression.
Clearly it was.
To put it bluntly, he says, putting it bluntly, it's going to be A real nail biter.
And it was.
It really was. Other conspiracy theorists believe that these murals are propaganda meant to distract the populace by getting them worried about global warming and lulling them into a false sense of security by having them dream about world peace. Once the populace is nice and distracted and or docile, that's when they'll strike and take over the world.
Because it's Pinky and the brain.
But in reality, it's much simpler than that. Here's what the artist of the mural had to say about them according to the same Westworld article. In 1994, mural artist Leo Tanjami.
Tanguma.
Oh no.
Tanjami.
Oh no.
I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but I know it's definitely not Tanjami.
Was approached in his studio by a group of curious people. And they weren't hostile, he recalls. They asked a lot of questions. They wanted to know about the different symbols in the murals and that he'd been commissioned to make, and for the still unopened DIA. And I had explained it, like I had explained it to everybody, the artist says. The first part of the environmental mural is about the ways humans destroy nature and themselves through destruction and genocide. The second part is about humanity coming together to rehabilitate nature and revive their own compassion.
So, in short, as you mentioned earlier, Sam, yes, the murals can make people uncomfortable, and that's the point. That's the whole point of these murals specifically. They are sending a very obvious message about anti-war and anti-destruction of environment. And yes, that is odd that these murals are on display in an airport, but is it really so strange that it has to be an indication of an evil plot conceived by a shadowy organization? Definitely not. I don't think so. But you can make your own opinion, but it's kind of goes back to, it's like, why would they advertise that? It's like, if they really have this secret and the world's really going to end in 2012, spoiler alert, we're recording this in 2020. Then why would they even show this, especially at such a public place like an airport? It doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, and so that's pretty much all of the conspiracies associated with the DIA. There are probably more, but those are at least the main ones. So, how has the DIA reacted to its apparent infamy? Well, they have a great sense of humor about it and have turned it into a marketing tool. These theories are literally free publicity. To quote an article on the Denver Post, The No. In 2019, DIA's flood of conspiracy theory stories reached a high watermark with impressions on nearly 6 million people and an estimated $1.5 million in free publicity, said Alex Ranteria, Public Information Officer at DIA. DIA now even has an animatronic talking gargoyle, in addition to its real gargoyles, controlled by an employee, which makes jokes about these theories.
So we didn't really mention the gargoyles, but they
no, but it has
on display. But I like I said, and that's people are like, see, this place is evil, has gargoyles. It's funny because gargoyles are like the anti-evil thing. They're on churches specifically to scare off evil spirits.
Aren't they even on Wayne Manor?
They're everywhere. They're everywhere in Gotham. You can't walk 2 steps. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Embracing the mythology allowed us to not only give information about our conspiracy theories to the public, it let us have a conversation with them, literally, says Public Information Officer Alex Renteria. DIA's recent marketing posters really have fun with this. One of them showing Lucifer shooting lasers out of its blood-red eyes proceed with the caption, "Are we creating the world's greatest airport or preparing for the end of the world?"
I don't like the jokes. Jokes. It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, because what if you are?
What if they are?
Preparing for the end of the world?
Literally trying to tell us that they are.
Yeah, they're rubbing it. It's a warning / rubbing it in our face.
Stop messing with my head.
It's psyop.
It's all hype, said airport vendor Garcia Hendricks, a Denver native. The airport definitely uses the theories to their fullest, and to fly into here and say that you've seen all of these dark, very abstract artworks, it's an attraction unto itself.
But yeah, it's just literally free advertising. If you go to the Denver airport and you saw this weird mural, of course you're going to tell everyone. You're like, how's that the airport the other day? And they had this painting on the wall. It was like some military dude with a giant sword, and everybody was dying it. It was freaking weird. So yeah, it's literally just advertising. It's free publicity. Quite a bit of it too, because it's a very busy airport. I think it's like,
Yeah.
it's definitely one of the most busy airports in the U.S. for sure. I saw some numbers, but I can't remember. I didn't include them here. So, in conclusion, it seems that there really isn't anything diabolical happening at the airport.
Or that's exactly what they want us to think.
If anything, this episode is just more advertising for the airport.
Yeah, I
which might have been their plan all along. All right, so that's pretty much it on it. What do you guys think? Anything that I need to include, or have any questions, or?
You didn't mention the 2007 incident.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Do you know it? What's the 2007 incident?
So the 2007 incident, all the windshields on these airplanes, something like I think like 20 windshields shattered at the same time.
What?
Yeah, and that's about it. That's all anybody knows about it. Everything else is just wild conjecture.
I can imagine it's because of all the secret testing they're doing in the underground tunnels.
Obviously.
Clearly. They were testing some sonic weapon, or they have some alien technology down there, and they went off at the wrong time, and then it shattered all the windshields on the airplanes. Well, that's interesting. I actually didn't come across that at all in my research, but then again, I wasn't really looking for it, so interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, like, the dented airplane whenever they supposedly hit Mothman in Chicago. That was interesting.
Oh yeah, Mothman is in Chicago.
Anyway, just more interesting conspiracy theories.
Yeah. That's the thing about them, is they all seem to be able to connect together quite nicely. It's like it's not much of a stretch, but it is that much of a stretch, but not for conspiracy theories. Sam, thank you for coming back on.
Well, thank you for having me. Yeah.
Nice to finally meet you.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. You guys didn't really cross paths before. So, yeah, I think this went really smoothly. Gary, especially, all of your readings were spot on.
I thought about it. I was like, I did pretty good, except for the very beginning. I was started to think, okay, this is going to, here it goes. But
yeah, in the very beginning, it was just very minor stuff. So that was beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sam,
Thank
you
you.
need to come on more often to keep Gary on track.
Yeah. I felt I needed to put bigger shoes on, because after I listened to your episode where you filled in for me, I was like, man, he's good. He is good.
He's definitely good at coming up with dialogue to talk about. So I really appreciate that.
Oh, thanks. No problem.
Well, unfortunately, I guess it's time to take off our tinfoil hats.
Boo.
And we need all of y'all to leave a rating on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or wherever else you can leave a review, wherever you get your podcast. And you can also leave a Facebook recommendation. It really helps the show. I've been noticing we've been getting a lot more likes. I like that.
We have been getting more likes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Please follow us on social media. We'd love to hear from you guys. We are on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Instagram and YouTube. We wouldn't have this spiel every episode if it wasn't important.
So, Sam, let me ask you this. Have you left a review for us yet anywhere?
I think I left one on Spotify.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, nice.
Well, can you make sure?
Yeah.
So we're also on Patreon.
I'll make sure to go back to Apple Podcasts and iTunes.
Yeah. We're also on Patreon. You can get some super exclusive secret Illuminati bonus content, like blooper reel episodes and topic voting for as little as $1 a month. Or can you? Am I just scamming you out of your money to fund the real conspiracy behind the Snipe Hunt podcasts? I will leave that for you to extrapolate on, or speculate on, I should say. As usual, if you have a topic suggestion, a question, comment, criticism, or if you'd have a story you'd like us to share on our counter series, please contact us on social media or email us at snipehuntpodcast@gmail.com. And yes, please send us more stories for our encounter series, because it's dead in the water until we get more stories. And I'm not gonna look up any more Reddit stories for this unless you send me the link for it and say, hey, use this one. As usual, I don't have a scripted goodbye for these. So, Sam, thank you again for coming on. Glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Gary, thank you for doing probably your best reading of all time.
My pleasure.
And
My pleasure.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you on the underside of the Denver International Airport.
Bye.
Bye. From the four horsemen of the apocalypse to aliens underground, Denver International Airport runs the gambit for conspiracy theories of all sorts. But it seems that these are just rumors without evidence, and that there really isn't anything going on at the airport besides the daily hustle and bustle of an active travel hub. Or at least, that's the account they want us to believe. It's healthy to question the official account, but don't take it overboard. A little critical thinking is all it takes to debunk this frightening folklore.
And that's it.
Yay!
Once again, we want to thank you for listening to Snipe Hunt. Your listening has been noted and will be reported to the proper authorities. All audio used was done so under the protection of fair use.
Logo design is by Ethan Rothfuss. The music you heard in this episode was composed by Mayu and Nature World 1986. We'll continue to search for the unexplained, and we'll hopefully see you on the next hunt.